So hi all, this is the CALS Comm workshop for October 2022. And I'm Janine Rumfield, and I'll be leading you through a conversation about Mailchimp. My first question is, I'm trying to get a sense of what everybody's experience level is. Like, would you rate yourself and feel free to put this in the chat, or the reaction buttons can mean clap is I'm excellent. I know a lot about Mailchimp. Thumbs up is I'm doing kind of okay. And the wow face is wow, I'm really curious about how to get to a better spot. Okay. Good deal. So we're getting a lot of we're at the intermediate and beginner level, I'll say. Awesome. This is, I think, a great place for those of you who find yourselves in that group. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you'll tell me if. So can you all see my slides? Well, I don't know that I can, so this is really this is really going to be a test of whatnot. Okay, so we are in Mailchimp. This is the CalsComm Mini Mailchimp Academy, and we are gonna just get right into it. So things to consider. Please, again,
Janine, it's on really small on the left side.
It's really small.
Like we're not seeing the big slides. I don't know.
Is that any better? Not really.
It's like I can see whatever slide you see and then two little slides under it. So
okay,
evidently
that's
it's in
maybe
a speaker.
Not where I want you to be. Okay.
It might be a speaker note.
This little one, is that better?
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how, I'm trying to, anyway. Oh, let's just go right to this one. Stop share. We'll go right to this one. Okay, so things to consider when getting started. How brand savvy am I with NC State's brand? Do I want to design my own email? Is this an email that I want to send on an ongoing basis? Do I have funds to support a paid for method? And who am I wanting to reach, and do I have their email address? So those are kind of like anytime I get started with a new program, these are the things that I think about. So back in, I think this is 2019, in person, we did a CalsComm workshop about brand and tone for NC State writing with Brent Winters, who works for University Communications. And I'm going to send out the recording of this video and also the slide deck. So you'll have this. If you want to look into it, go for it. There's oh no, it's playing. You know whether to use. We don't want to play it right now, promise. Oh, okay. And there's also, there should have been another show anyway. Okay. Anyway, there's a picture here. This is the university brand website. It's a great place to find out information. Many of you have probably been there already, but they do update stuff periodically. And then also Erin McCrary, who works for University Communications, she also helps to organize a regular brand meeting. And so there, she let me know that the next one I think is on, I'm afraid to click anywhere because I'm afraid it will all fall apart. I think it's on October 20th at 1 p.m. And again, her name is Erin McCrary. At the end of this, I'll drop, or once we're out of this place, I'll drop it in the chat. They'll go, it's like an entry level, new people to NC State are welcome. People who want to get a new start or want a new or like an updated reminder about the brand, it's a great place. It's, I think, only an hour. It's on Zoom. 1 o'clock on October 20th is the next time. And again, email Erin McCrary if you'd like to attend, and I'm going to send you her information. Next up. So this is kind of where we get into the heart of back to our initial questions of, do I have, am I brand savvy? We talked about the brand. Do I want to design my own email? That's where we're talking about this university email generator. If you're clear that you aren't 100% feeling great about your ability to create your own email template that is on brand, you will want to go ahead and potentially use the university email generator. And I think that there's a lot of great options. Both the two free options are very strong. It definitely, you have more options when you get into the Premier account, which you have to pay for. But the before you decide to make that decision to again, the funds to pay for this, go ahead and check out the free tier. So, and this is the login. This is usually, like, I don't have it bookmarked anywhere. So every time I want to use the email generator, I type in NC State email generator. So there's no shame in finding it just via Google. And then you log in, it uses your Unity ID and everything. So if you're part of a group that has already decided to pay for the Premier, I'm going to drag this over. You should be all set. Like up here, I have access to the CALS magazine, which is our, we've paid for the Premier email generator through that option. But I also can look at the free one if I just go to the UComm email generator. So this right now is the free version. Does anybody have any questions so far? Latasha?
So hi, Janine. So just quickly, I used to be able to get on really easily to the generator like you're saying now, but it's changed and they do this like block thing now.
Yes.
So okay, so you're gonna talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So you
Okay.
should still be able to get to it, and let me
I
know,
can.
and we can and so they decide, I can't remember when it was, but the university, and this is kind of a little bit about, some of you may have attended the session with Kiana last month about the transition to Gutenberg. And this is kind of a lot about that the university has also switched their systems to Gutenberg, which is like the block editor rather than just a text box where, so this is where you're moving it and you can shuffle things around, but you should still have access. So let me know if yours doesn't look like what I'm about to show. So this is, anytime you use the email generator, you have to pair it with an external email marketing system. So that means, in this case, what we're talking about today, Mailchimp, Bronto at one point, and I'll show you the full list of options that they have. You can also just pull the code and go about it that way. So here we go. Add single column, add new.
That's how it looks.
So this is how it looks. So this is basically, it is definitely slightly more challenging to learn, but it's supposed to help people that don't know HTML. I don't know. And Sherry, I think you may use this program also. I don't know that it really helps a lot, because once you got used to what we were using before, you just use preview, like, oh, I'm going to change this and then I'm going to look at it. But now
It's a
it
pain.
definitely is a little more challenging to kind of figure out. A lot of what you want to use for when you're using this editor is this little bar here. This is what makes, like, you want to, oh, I want another block like this. Oh, I want to edit this. It's not intuitive because we've gotten so used to using a right-hand panel. But now it's all within the actual editor. So make sure you're investigating and exploring this toolbar here. So I don't know if I want to go into, let's just say, okay, Latasha, what's the AHS program that they're working on right now? Do you
Racial
remember?
healing.
What's it called?
Racial healing.
Racial healing.
Mhm.
And so that's like even though it's like, oh, this is a header, this is the header, and then this is the title and the set, like it does seem to give you a lot of options, but just is it Thursday?
Is that top one? It is. It's Thursday, October 13th.
So up here you could say, in this case, you could say ag.
Is that top one just for internally naming it? And then the title is for what you'll see in the actual.
I think that it's more about like the box for we'll just call it October 13th, 2022. Display image. Yes, add image. Media library. We'll see. We'll just pick like a generic NC State photo for this purpose. Text, wolf, sculpture with autumn leaves. Okay, so then maybe here we would put the, so like, let's say preview now. Is it desktop? Where is it?
I always use the preview in the new tab.
Yeah,
because I can't figure out
I have like so many boxes open on my computer right now. I'm not really sure. So this is yeah, I guess Latasha, in like that was an internal, that maybe was what they expect you to use as the name of the
So when you
campaign or
look, so when you
something.
look it up in your list of emails, you'll find it that way.
Yes.
But the actual what's on the email, is it the title part? I'm sorry, I had to.
Yes, that
go
was,
out to
so
say-
the
okay.
title was the first part in that
The
new
racial healing.
box.
Okay.
And then the subheading was, I put in the date.
Mhm.
And so then we still have down here to fill out.
And there's no way to make this date bigger, smaller. That's just the branding.
Right. Well, I mean, I think in this
Gotcha.
case, I can't tell, I didn't have to figure out. There we go.
Like italicize it, bold it, nothing like that.
No, because that's like, again, like that's going back to some of the like brand standards.
Branding.
They
Okay.
really don't want you to use italics. Like almost never does the university brand team want you to use italics. The only time that they really are kind of okay with italics being used is if it's for like the name of a publication or a scientific name or something like that. They really like, or, you know, this was written by blah, blah, blah from a different group, and I'm just using it here. Like they're okay with it being kind of like an aside. So this,
but
yeah,
not
this,
to highlight text. I got you.
right. So this picture that I had picked is 150 by 150. So it's a square. So I don't know if we go back in and we pick a different picture. We'll just use, we'll see this one. So no, this one's still not good. Okay, this is more, this is the 1500 by 844. So this looks more of a horizontally oriented. Preview again, new tab. So I guess the way that you can make the photo different is if you have it cropped however you want it, and then it looks like it will just fill the space. Okay, check.
Janine, can you go back to the editing part of this?
Yes.
I have a question.
Sherry, is that email address for how you usually get to the page itself?
That
The
is
links put in?
the how to use the Gutenberg thing, the documentation that they gave us when we bought the Gutenberg stuff.
Got you.
So can you go up to where it said title again? Just scroll or down, whatever that is. Yeah.
Yes.
So I thought that you could, oh, sorry.
No, it my cursor slipped and I clicked one of the things on my. Anyway, okay, we're back.
Yeah. So where was the box? It must have been before you put it in the email generator when you were doing the box. Yeah. So I think right there, oops.
I went too far.
Yeah. I think right there when you got the box to pop up.
Yeah.
And you had it in the title.
This one?
Yeah, like when you've got it by the title, that I thought that you were able to make it like heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, but you can't do that.
It may depend on what, if you have a Premiere.
This is the email generator. Never mind. I was thinking about on a regular page because you can alt. Like on our
Yes.
annual report, I had to cheat and do some stuff in HTML because I'm so used to doing that. But they do have an HTML edit box.
Yeah, the Gutenberg really doesn't want you to do much in HTML, which is kind of.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to get over it.
I know, I agree, but it certainly makes it like for me, it makes it much harder to have clean code when you put it
Yep.
in there.
Yep.
Because it is probably carrying a lot of the background noise with it, but I've basically come really accustomed to using like Command Shift V when I'm pasting things, so that actually basically moves everything into the program with clean text, which is great.
Yeah.
So
But
once
another-
sorry.
Another thing, like if you save the draft, I know you probably don't want to, but
Oh no, that's what. So
that it pops up down here at the bottom really quickly. You can view the preview.
Oh, like you just have to like be really fast about it.
You have to be really fast. I just
so
figured that out.
So after like the next step to be able to use it in Mailchimp. Oh goodness, now I think I'm looking at the preview.
Just have to go back, yeah.
So you do have to publish it, and this is how using one of the Premiere options. That's how Suzanne Stannard does the bulletin. That's how a lot of subgroups from within the university, I think even some of our collaborators within the college, use email generator for their distribution of emails. But you have to publish it. I said, are you ready to publish? I'm just, yes, because you need the code at like the final stage before we move into the Mailchimp. So I had been doing so I had been doing like a right click and a view page source at one point, and then copying all this information and then using and then dropping this into the code your own spot in Mailchimp. And I think that's still a viable option, but there's also a place in the email generator where, where did it go? I think I need to go back to the why. This one. Okay. Code editor. And so then we're kind of, once we've done all these steps, which again, like this was just like a partial version of what you want to make sure you're filling out. And we would want to have text down here, update this, make this into a button. And again, like this little bar here is when you're in this block editor is the most important area to make sure you're reviewing and adding your content into. And then we're going to pop over to Mailchimp. There were some questions about like why Mailchimp? That was like a question. And it initially Mailchimp was like the preferred. Well, first it was Bronto. Hold on one second. First it was Bronto that the university was preferring to use, and then they kind of like switched right before they launched the email generator to Mailchimp. And so when you were using the email generator, it was helpful because it transitioned more smoothly into Mailchimp. And then there's also the benefit that Mailchimp has a free option where some of the other programs don't allow, or some of the other platforms don't allow for free trial or even free permanently programs, depending on the size of your list of contacts. And it should, I think that it's still like 2,000 contacts or fewer, you can have a free Mailchimp account. And it's not a bad option. It's the reason that I don't love well, there are a few reasons that I don't love Mailchimp. One of them is that you pay for basically every contact. If you have different lists, you pay for that contact over and over and over again. Like for instance, I'm on the email list for the internal newsletter. I'm on the email list for the external newsletter. I'm basically on every email list. And so CALS Communication is paying for me on every one of those lists. Meanwhile, in Constant Contact, you can have as many people on as many lists as you want. It's just that one user is counted once because they're one person. I think that that's more fair, but again, right now, the smooth progress from the email generator into Mailchimp was a benefit. Also, Mailchimp has an RSS feed option. So if your team is writing or reposting stories, curating stories from different groups, whether it's weekly or monthly or even less often than that, and you want to send out a more regular newsletter, Mailchimp will almost do it for you so long as you are adding new content to your site within the window of time that you want to send out your newsletters. So that's kind of like once you've done the upfront work of setting up the connectivity between Mailchimp and your website, and you have, hold on one second again. And you have done the work to curate a list and pull together the different groups that you want to email, it's almost like a set it and forget it. That was one of the questions, like, how do you go about doing that? So once you have an email address, it's pretty easy to set up. Like, it's basically the email address /feed. And then you take that link and you put it into a spot in Mailchimp that I'll show you. And so it kind of will, I would say you would want to check in on it to make sure that everything is going smoothly, make sure you're keeping an eye on it. But other than that, it's kind of good to go. So this is the login page for Mailchimp. Why is it doing that? So here we go. And then this is the our campaigns page. And wait, is everybody familiar with me? Is everybody hanging with me? Thumbs up, thumbs down, scream face, I don't know. Okay, so thanks, Pam. I appreciate any feedback, guys. So here we go. This is where you will take the create option. And there's sometimes Mailchimp, like, it looks really user-friendly and lots of bubbles and lots of like, it's a clean interface, but then there are things that are really subtle. Like, it took me a while to notice that there was this little Chad that I had to click to see these other different options. So in this case, if we're trying to send out this racial healing email, we're just going to go with regular. And we're going to say Mailchimp Academy. And so this is what it kind of looks like off the, you'll fill out the to, the from, subject level, and then this content box is where it gets a little, where the, and see up here, so it says layouts, you could pick, well, this is a paid for account. So a free account would look a little different. They have way fewer options for templates. I'm not sure if it lets you save templates. These are some of our save templates for the college communications team. Campaigns, these are things that we have on an ongoing basis every week. Meredith Towery, who handles the CBO and HR communications, she does her ongoing emails from this. And then this is the code your own. So sorry. Oh, there's chat. So there was a question about Mailchimp free version. Yes, it. I think that it's capped at 2,000, but I haven't used. Again, like when we're getting back to the question about why Mailchimp, honestly, I am helping out like a nonprofit with some of their email stuff, and I'm using MailerLite. MailerLite also has a free version. Again, it's not with the university, it's with the local school. And so there's no need to have that kind of like more graceful transition from the email generator to Mailchimp. And so yes, and so then I'm using, I really like MailerLite. Like, I think it's, and they allow for an RSS feed. The reason that we at one point were sticking with Mailchimp rather than Constant Contact, because we had a Constant Contact account also. And again, there's a lot of perks with other programs, not just Mailchimp. But they didn't allow for an RSS feed. And so that was an important consideration at the time that we decided to keep with Mailchimp. And so Latasha asked if it's you put in whatever the name of, like, for me, I wrote in Mailchimp Academies just so that I know this kind of is like a draft test that I'm just using for this session. But you would put in whatever, like for you, you'd put in like Lunch and Learn October or whatever it is you want to call it. And then, yes, we did a trial with Emma, and Emma was great. I really liked Emma. It was, at the time, their RSS feed was a set number. And so it was like 5 or 10 or more. And I wanted it to be more organic based off of how many news stories we had, rather than just keeping it to a set amount. And kind of like keeping, because in that way it would pull 5 stories or 10 stories, even if they had run before. That's what it seemed like to me when I was testing it. So I wasn't really pleased with that option. Have you tried using Emma, Jerry?
No, Stan North Martin was in something else with me, and he told me that Emma was supported by OIT now, because I don't know that MailChimp is, but Delta had MailChimp way before I got there, and we bought so many tokens that we don't need to buy anything else.
So in this case, we're going to, I think, import from URL. Let's see if I still have. Ooh. Or is this the code? We'll see. No. Okay, that's the code. I got the code. Code your own. Pasting code. Well, that's just the footer. All right. My computer is like, why are you trying to get me to do so many things at once? How dare you? Here we go. Okay, so there we go. And in this case, we'd save it. Because really you would need to make every change in the email generator. You would want to make sure everything looks exactly how you want it. All of the grammar is correct. All of the commas are in the right spot. Make sure your alt text is there, because once you put it in Mailchimp, it's kind of like, unless you know how to code, it's kind of like done, or it is done. This is kind of like, for those of you who don't really have long contact emails set up, like, or you don't have a database with all of your contact email information, that's kind of where it's kind of going back to the drawing board and making sure that you have individual email addresses for everyone that you want to email. So right now, if I want to use Mailchimp to send out an email to everyone in the college, Scott Niven created a database where I'm able to pull a brand new fresh list from that. And it actually was updated the midnight before from the HR system. And so when we're sending out, hold on. Apologies, it's 36 minutes, 36 minutes of almost straight talking. I was trying to read my son a book last night, and I was like, "Trust me, I gotta stop." Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so you really want to make sure that you have individual email addresses, because sending to groups, especially with emails like this, even if you are forwarding it along from your email inbox, it just like adds a lot of extra formatting that ends up not looking as clean and nice as what you spent your time creating. So, do we have any questions from here? Anyone want to take a turn talking for a second?
So the RSS feed is very important if you're using Mailchimp. But if you're using another platform, it doesn't become as important. Is that right?
The RSS feed is really only critical if you have some sort of weekly or monthly information that you want to just kind of like pull automatically from your website and send out, like a blog or I know, Latasha, you all have talked about different book clubs, or if you want to have like if a book club group met and like everybody at the end, you want to send like a synopsis of the different books to your whole network. And each week a different leader from the book clubs goes in and types up a little like, this is what we talked about this week. These were some of the excellent points our members brought up. And like, so you have a whole month of those, and you want it to kind of like just send like every month at the same time. That's where that RSS feed is really helpful. Does that make sense?
Yes. So when we are taking from okay, yes, that makes sense.
So like a lot of the emails that come from the university aren't RSS feeds. They create an email like this, like one-offs, or they use one of the other mail templates. So sorry, everyone. Last night I was like, I should have made hot tea. I should have hot tea when I'm doing this. And then I forgot. So hold on.
I know that OIT sends a lot of them through the broadcaster. So that's a different thing, and they manage that. That's not the Mailchimp like you were talking about.
Yeah, and like I know CALS IT sends out an email. I don't know what program they use to design their email. I guess I could probably
I inherited using YAM.
Oh, were you, Del, were you the one who asked about YAM?
I didn't ask, but that's kind of what I inherited when Denise had left. So been sticking with that for now.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'm looking into doing Mailchimp because I'm a little over YAM. I don't know that I do recommend it. And if you do have any issue, they are on the other side of the pond, so you won't hear back for a hot bit if you reach out to customer service.
Oh, goodness.
And it's had a lot of issues where it'll get halfway through sending and then decides to stop about halfway through the 1,800 people. So you don't know who it has and hasn't sent to at that point.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so I don't recommend.
Yeah, someone else had asked a question like, why is Mailchimp better than YAM, or how is it different? And I was like, I had to Google YAM because I didn't even know what it was, and I've been doing email marketing for like 9 years. So I was like, oh, I feel a little silly not knowing what this is, considering it's like Google, a major Google complement. But you're saying that is it more cumbersome than like using like the email generator plus the Mailchimp?
I mean, I still use the email generator to plug everything in.
Okay.
YAM system is a little simple where you just plug in what emails I pull from the Scott Niven list to just make like a spreadsheet and then kind of initiate the extension from the spreadsheet, but it has its like faults for sure with like sending and some hiccups here and there every now and again.
And when I was looking into it yesterday, it looks like you can still have analytics and whatnot from that.
Yeah, it sends you like little updates too about like what you've sent and how many people have viewed it and all that kind of stuff. So those features are really nice, but the inconsistency of the system actually functioning appropriately is where I've had issues.
So, Janine, some of my concerns about Mailchimp is what you've mentioned about generating the email list. So, a lot of our emails go out to everybody, and then we separate some for students and some for all of that. And that's why we've been using the batch email system. But some of the coding in the batch email system, it'll give you the question marks and the little things like that. So, but it is free, and it does give you the list. You don't have to generate it yourself. So does Mailchimp have an answer for those conveniences?
Well, I would say, like, do you all use Google Groups at all, Latasha?
So I try to have, no, we don't right now. Well, actually, we do have a listserv, but for our smaller groups like the Diversity Council and things like that, we have the listserv, but I can create that listserv for myself in Google. But I don't know what happened to it. I think I sent a request to have the Google Groups created, but then that won't update, right? Will that update?
Well, so I manage the CALS communication Google group, and it's much smaller than who I imagine you would want to be emailing with the kind of programming you're running. So with that, I can pull an individual list though. So like if it at some point you were able to get them to set up a Google group for you, in the same way that I use like the Scott Niven list to pull a fresh email CSV, right? File that's the comma separated style of spreadsheet that I then upload into Mailchimp.
So that's all you have to do is, so because I can imagine, I can see everyone who the batch mail is going to. But when I copy that list, I have to go through all these other steps in order to pull that list and put it into an email. Sometimes I want to do that because, your direct email is a lot cleaner than the batch email that is, I think really, really ran by the HTML system. But I can only send a very small amount from my personal email or from the email set up for the office. So I'm trying to get around that. So what I'm trying to do is get that clean look and be able to do a really big mail out. So sometimes, of course, I'm sending, the more than 10,000 that you're allotted for that day. If I'm sending it back to employees and to students and to some university people. So I run into that issue. But when I send it from my address, it has the clean look. Is there any way to get both of those, the clean look and the volume of people I want to send it to?
Well, not with Mailchimp for free.
Right. I know we would have to get the premier one.
Yeah, or
I think
just
the problem I would run into is my list won't update when I want to send it again. I would have to keep creating the list. And I guess
Well,
that's
it would just be adding to it. So like you should be able to say like, oh, like I help AHS with their departmental newsletter. And so like I had all the alumni and all of the people from like through June 2022. And then I said, okay, can you give me any new people you've had since June? And so then I just they say, okay, here's 50 people new. And then I just take those 50 people and I add them to the old list. I just keep adding them. I assume that people will unsubscribe or remove themselves if they don't want to receive it anymore. So I would just like add more.
So you'll create these lists in Mailchimp. You'll say, CALS, faculties and staff list. And that list will be the same, of course, right? It won't update like the one in the batch email system.
Right.
So you'll have to go back to the batch mail system, but you won't be adding. You won't have a way to decide, because HR is really very not, you know what I mean? It's not stable, like new people come and go every day, and so you won't just be adding to that list. You would have to look in that 5,000 or so people and see who's new.
You won't have to do that because Mailchimp, you can try to add all the same people again and it will only add the new people.
Oh, got you.
It like removes all the duplicates.
Okay, Mailchimp removes it.
Yeah. So that's the good news about it. And so once, oh, sorry.
No problem. So when I go to batch email, I say send it to faculty, I get that list, and then I copy it. I have to do something else in order for it to, do I have to do something else in order for it to go into Mailchimp? Or will Mailchimp just take the email addresses from that copy when I copy those names?
Here, in this case, we'd be like, okay, I want to see audience dashboard and I want to see all contacts. So if I wanted to add, so this is where you'd create an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this case, you would just say like, you would create an audience, you would call it, whether it's diversity council or all diversity campaign information. And then you decide when you use this audience, what you want the default email address, like, do you want it to be the CALS diversity email? Who do you want it to be from? That this is, you can either decide what you want to name it, like, or have the URL address. And then.
So right there, you can put the, like the diversity web address.
Right.
Okay.
It's really just the campaign address though. So like each time you create a new email based off of using this information, you will be pulling information that is for this particular group, if that makes any sense. And so these will be like the defaults for all emails that you send to this group unless you change it. I don't know if it'll let me go to the next one because I didn't fill anything out. No. But anyway, let me see what goodness gracious. Anyway, I think the next and I'm happy to talk, walk you through this
individually
at another time. Same goes with everybody else. If you have a situation where you're trying to get things up and running and you just want a little help or another set of eyes, I'm happy to do it in real time with you, because once you've done it once, it's going to be a lot easier to get going from there. Oh boy. So I also wanted to spend a couple minutes on, what did I write here? Automated sending. We kind of talked about that, analytics, and we kind of covered all of these, but this is a few 2 months ago's Inside CALS rundown of information. So the reason that I think it's so valuable to send content to your various audiences through a email marketing system is because of what you can learn about your audience. And doing it once is helpful because you get a baseline, but seeing over time how users behavior changes or what they're interested in, it's really helpful to know what your group can, if you want to increase people's reading and consuming of your content, what people gravitate towards. So you won't base everything off of that because there's still goals and objectives that your department or unit has that are regardless or the same regardless of what your audience is doing. But it does help to know what it is that they prefer. Like I learned that internal audiences, surprise, surprise, aren't as interested in the student stories as they are in research and human interest pieces that are about faculty and staff. They're much more interested in those. They click on them more. Surprise, surprise, or not surprise at all. When we have memorial information that comes out, those are unfortunately very popular. There's a lot of interest in like wanting to learn more about opportunities like for a lunch and learn. I started sharing out information about these state level led health workshops, and people click on that and they really like it. I don't know if they're going to it or they're just interested to learn more. And so this is all very helpful to know what it is that people are looking at and reading. Does anybody have any specific questions about analytics?
I want to know how to get to the where they click button.
Where they click?
Because it's like a heat map, but not really. It's
Oh yes. So that is I think it's like under something. Yes. So it's under click performance and then view click map. So last year, more than this year, people weren't really like, and I don't know if it was because of what we were selecting to be in that top box, but people were picking. Oh, no wonder this week did really well because it had the update on the Dean search. This last year, people weren't really focusing on what was in our feature box, regardless of if we thought that it was one of the more interesting or items within the options we had for that week to share. But it was really like, and also like now 93, like the and I used to think, oh, the order is important. Like, oh, the order of how these things are listed is really important. And it's not. Like, I think, and even this one is a long scroll, but even all, like down here, not tonight, dear. 67 people clicked on this way down here.
yeah.
And so I think because of the clean nature of this style of our newsletter, people can scan it fast. And so even though that it's long, they can get through it pretty quickly. And we still keep people, like there's 5, this ran for 2 months, this tailgate ad. And this week we had 5 people click it. It had been running for a month already. So but every audience is different. And so it's important to keep track of what your audience is doing, and a program like Mailchimp or a different program make that so much easier than the lack of information we get when we just send a regular email. That's about it for me. Questions?
Thanks, Janine, for letting me butt in.
Anytime. Next month, where I'm trying to find somebody from DASA to come and talk about accessibility and using accessible language. We've had that, we've had people come before to discuss that, but things change all the time, and I know that they're looking for a new person, so that should be either the 1st or 2nd week of November, but I'm still trying to solidify those details. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Everybody who registered for this session will receive the recording and also the PowerPoint. Again, if you're interested in learning more about the brand, please attend one of the university communications workshops. And Erin McCrary is the contact for that. Next one is October 20th at 1. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye. Let me know if you have questions.